All right, all right. Listen. I know you thought I was going to play some pussy licking music, but no, that was just Luscious Jackson, "Naked Eye," from 1996. Well, it's not that weird, but it's also, maybe you wouldn't expect me to play a pop song from the nine. What? Maybe you would. All right, never mind. Anyway, hello, chat. You would expect a pop song from the 90s from me? Oh, wait, yeah, I guess you would. Well, hi everyone. What's the latest thing? What's the latest thing that I should talk about, chat? Fentanyl? All right, never mind. How about this? How about we talk about this? There are now like ways that you can emulate a CRT TV. I'm sure there's been plenty, but there's one here that called RT5X firmware version 4.0 CRT Sim Edition. And yeah, if you like that look, it gets pretty close. It's amazing how we've gone to the point where like the technology that was a little bit outdated, we now like because we want to have that look that it was intended for. And I get it because it you can see every picture comparing like just pure harsh pixels of like Chrono and Chrono Trigger versus what it looks like on a CRT. And the CRT blends it a little bit better. So Brian Eno said something about that. Well, that's actually something that I've noticed with music too. Um, like mixing music and working on stuff and like VSTs is there are a lot of VSTs out there that will emulate tape and emulate like faulty equipment to get a very specific sound, which to me proves that it's not necessarily about the most pristine version of the sound. It's about what we were nostalgic for or what we perceive to sound great. And some plugins go overboard. Like I have a plugin that just decimates it. And one of the things that me and Joe really, really dislike is when there's a plugin that tries to recreate like, tape or like I don't know, just something analog, like an analog piece of equipment, and there's a hiss that you can't get rid of. And some would be like, well, that's accurate. But the hiss doesn't really, to me, it just muddies up the song. But again, that's a desirable thing for some people to get that sound. But if there are in fact ways to disable that hiss, we like that because it's like you can choose what you want the thing to sound like. But yes, we do go back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass, and we try to get to that like the technology of like, oh, we're back to cassettes now. People want to buy some cassettes here and there, or like we want to emulate the CRT. Aside from the fact that it has very little input latency, but one day I'll check this out. One day I will take a look. There's also something called Slop Hero, I think, or what is it called? Slopsmith. On a side note, free Rocksmith alternative. So that's interesting. It is an open source Rocksmith like. So I might have to check that out. Slop Hero. It's still very early days. We'll see because honestly, they make it very. The problem is this, chat. Rocksmith is a pain in the ass. So I wouldn't mind seeing an open source version. All right. Anyway, thank you for listening to this. Let's play some Subnautica.